Not every love story ends because love fades. Sometimes it ends because ego quietly takes its place. The person we love often becomes our entire world. Every relationship begins with pure emotions, but sooner or later, those emotions are tested by ego. At first, two people walk together, carrying the same dreams. Then time reveals who chooses to bend and who chooses to break. Arham and Zoya are laughing together, completely lost in each other's company. They look genuinely happy, enjoying a beautiful life side by side. Arham smiles and says, "You are the best decision I have ever made. You are my priority." Zoha holds his hand and replies, "And you are my safe place, my comfort zone." They gently hold each other's hands, sharing a quiet promise without saying another word. Every love story begins with a promise, and every promise carries a hidden test. In the beginning, love feels so strong that ego does not even exist. Because every beautiful story starts with a beautiful beginning, and at this moment, Arham and Zoya feel like the perfect couple. One day, while discussing their future, Zoya says, "I want to move abroad." Arham pauses for a moment and quietly asks, "What about me? Will you just leave me behind?" Zoya gently replies, "I'm not leaving you. I'm choosing growth." Arham falls silent. When two dreams begin to move in different directions, ego quietly turns them into a comparison. This generation values independence, but when independence starts challenging a relationship, insecurity finds its way in. This is where the very first seed of ego is planted. Arham starts distancing himself, quietly ignoring Zoya. Unable to hold it in, Zoya confronts him. "You have changed." Arham replies coldly, "You are the one who's always busy, not me." The conversation quietly turns into an argument. In the heat of the moment, Arham says, "Maybe you don't even need me anymore." Those words deeply hurt Zoya, and silence takes over. That single sentence leaves the first real emotional scar in their relationship. They once solved every problem by talking, but now they are hiding their feelings just to protect their ego. This is where communication begins to break down. Now, both of them start creating distance on purpose. Zoya reads Arham's messages but intentionally delays her replies. Meanwhile, Arham begins posting photos on social media, hoping to make Zoya jealous. They once used attention to express love. Now they use it as a weapon. Love does not survive on constant proof. The more people try to prove their worth, the more a relationship turns into a battle. Everyone waits for the other person to give in because surrender feels like losing. And that's when ego slowly gains power until it begins replacing love itself. One day, Arham sees Zoya having coffee with a male colleague. They seem engaged in a conversation, but he only sees the moment, not the context. Without asking for an explanation, Arham confronts her. "Have you already replaced me?" Shocked, Zoya replies, "When did you stop trusting me?" The colleague was only discussing work, but ego had already written its own story. Truth does not always break because of betrayal. Sometimes it breaks the moment doubt is allowed to speak before understanding. Instead of seeking clarity, we jump to conclusions, and a small misunderstanding becomes the beginning of permanent damage. The tension finally explodes into a serious argument. Zoya says, "You are not protective, you are insecure." Arham fires back, "And you are selfish." They begin bringing up each other's past mistakes, and soon the conversation turns deeply personal. When ego starts speaking, love goes silent. The moment respect disappears, words become weapons instead of comfort. Our relationship slowly turns into a battlefield where emotional wounds are often impossible to erase, and love begins to feel more like a war than a bond. Now separated, Arham and Zoya sit alone, lost in their own thoughts. Memories of their promises, laughter, and happier days began to flood back. Zoya quietly whispers, "Maybe neither of us was wrong. We just failed to understand each other. Maybe we were so busy proving we were right that we ended up losing what mattered." Arham sits in silence, his eyes filled with regret. Deep down, he knows he is overreacted, but ego holds back the apology. They both mistake taking the first step for weakness. And when neither person is willing to bend, the relationship slowly falls apart. Sometimes, the deepest pain is created in complete silence. For the last time, Arham and Zoya meet. There are no accusations, no raised voices, and no drama. After a long silence, Arham quietly asks, "Can we still fix this?" Zoya looks at him for a moment before answering, "Things can only be fixed when we think before breaking them. Maybe we truly loved each other, but we could not control our ego." Arham softly asks, "So, this is it?" Zoya replies, "We stopped leaving room for each other." In that moment, they both realize that love cannot survive by force. Sometimes, when understanding disappears, separation becomes the only honest answer. Without saying another word, Arham and Zoya quietly walk in opposite directions. No tears, no running back, no dramatic goodbye. Sometimes, our relationship does not end because love disappears or because the heart moves on. It ends because ego becomes stronger than love. And when ego wins, all that's left on both sides is regret. Too often, we protect our ego more than the people we love. By the time love is gone, all we have left is our so-called ego and the memories of what we choose to lose. Standing in different places, Arham and Zoya open their old chat. They type, pause, delete, and type again. But neither of them sends the message. Instead, they scroll through old photos together, each wearing a faint, bittersweet smile. Today, they are apart, not because love disappeared, but because ego stayed. When ego becomes more important than love, what remains is regret. not the relationship. Black screen. They both wanted to win, but in the end, they only lost each other.